Hi everybody, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I have a day in the life of PGY2, I almost said PGY1, pediatric pharmacy resident. So I just started my PGY2. I'm excited to bring you a whole nother series of this. If you haven't seen my PGY1 or even my Appy series, if you want to see those experiences, I will link them in the description box below. But for my first rotation in my PGY2, I did general pediatrics. It is a 5-week core rotation. So I'll be talking with you through that rotation and what a day in the life looks like. So I just filmed some random Tuesday, so we'll see. Also, I do want to note, I am looking at notes down there so that I make sure I don't miss any sort of topics that I want to touch on. So if I look down, that is why. So anyways, today is some random Tuesday. It is August 26th, I believe. I'm waking up at 6 in the morning and I'm brushing my teeth, I do my hair, and I make sure to do it in like 2 French braids that go into a ponytail. That's just because I don't want like my curtain bangs in my face all day long, or really any part of my hair in my face all day long. So I just put my hair up like that, and then I put on my sunscreen. I gotta protect myself, especially it being in Florida where it is sunny literally, well, actually not 24/7 because sometimes it randomly rains, but it's sunny and hot here. And then I'm gonna eat some breakfast. So today I had a breakfast burrito. So here I am making it. I just used an egg, hash brown, sour cream, salsa, cheese, and a spinach tortilla. Then around like 6:50-ish, I'm doing a little bit of work before it's time to leave. Today I'm working on a case presentation that I will have to give on Friday, so I'm getting that done. At 7:20-ish, it's time for me to get dressed and then pack my lunch that I made over the weekend. I made some pasta with chicken, and I'm adding some more sauce on top of it because the sauce soaks in and I don't want it to soak in and be sauceless. I've learned that the hard way. But then I'm adding some chips into my lunch. I'm filling up my water bottle before packing my backpack with my work laptop, putting on my shoes, and heading out the door at 7:30 in the morning. And that is because my shift starts at 8. So I drive to work, which thankfully doesn't take too long. So I'm allowed to leave at 7:30 and still be plenty early. And then I arrive at the resident's office at 7:50-ish to put my lunch away and grab my patient safe phone. I put on my jacket since it's quite chilly in the hospital just in general, and then I log onto my computer to print my patient list that will be covering on rounds for the day. So then once I have that list, I grab my computer, or like laptop I guess, and then I walk down to the pharmacist station on one of the floors. Once I get to my station, first thing I do is I log onto Theradoc, which is our monitoring and documentation system, and I check to see if we have any new consults that I'm not aware of, things that came in like kind of before shift change or things that weren't completely followed up on, just to kind of like triage my day and see what there needs to be done. We just had like a pharmacy to dose tobramycin the day prior, and that finished, so there's actually no Theradoc today in the morning, which was kind of weird and crazy, but awesome for me. So that made life easy. And then since I didn't have Theradoc, I was able to just go ahead and start verifying orders and reviewing my rounding patients. If I did have Theradoc, I'd kind of need to balance all 3 of those things that I mentioned, but overall, not too bad, just kind of bouncing back and forth in between what need to be done. And I sit on the floor so people can ask me questions at any point in time, people as in like the patient's parents or the nurses or doctors that are nearby as well. So I'm kind of just like a resource there for them. I attend rounds at 11. So they start at 11. It's MDR, or multidisciplinary rounds, where there is a bunch of people there. The doctor, resident, if there's a resident with the doctor, like nurses, social work, respiratory, like everybody is there that needs to be there and who is caring for these patients. And so the rounds today ended around 11:45-ish. We did have around like 50 patients. Actually, it was exactly 50. I remember counting them and being like, wow, it's exactly 50 today. But we had 50 patients to go through, and even more that were actually like admitted, but we don't round on every single patient that's admitted. So we rounded on 50 patients. And that's because school just started. It's like August. peak time for children to all get together and share all of their germs with each other. So school time is a very busy time when school just starts. But anyways, when rounds ended at 11:45, I went back to the pediatric office and I worked there until it was time for lunch at 12:30. So I did tell you that I had pasta that I made over the weekend. However, the hospital had a vendor today, okay? It was chicken salad chick. I've heard great things about this from my preceptors and everybody was raving about it. Oh my gosh, chicken salad chick here is, oh my gosh, chicken salad chick is here today. Like, we need to get some. And I'm like, I don't know what chicken salad chick is. So I tried it. Best decision. It was so good. I just saved my pasta lunch for tomorrow. So it worked out nicely. But I got the cranberry and almond salad on a croissant with pasta salad and fruit. Then after my 30-minute lunch, I returned back to the pediatric office. I did some more orders, and then I went to the floor with my preceptor around like 1:45. That's usually what happens. We go together in the evening, or not evening, in the afternoon, so that I can do my topic discussion with her. In the morning, I go there by myself so that I can get experience being by myself. So today I presented JIA, or juvenile idiopathic arthritis. I've actually had a topic discussion every day in this rotation, which was kind of crazy. It led to be 25 topic discussions and 13 patient experiences. And patient experiences are things that are gonna be more like common disease states. So kind of like asthma, bronchiolitis, pneumonia, RSV, constipation, diarrhea, things that like we know we're gonna see. So that's kind of like the differences between those. And for patient experiences, we talk about them and talk about what we're doing for that patient, etc. Topic discussion, it's more like generalized. I have an outline that I present to the preceptor, and then we talk about it after if I like missed anything that's important to know. So then basically for the rest of the day until 4:30 hits, because that's when the shift ends, I continue to verify orders and work on incoming consults. So for what I did today, I just wanted to do like a section at the end here, or at the end of my workday, I guess, not the end of the actual day, for what I did, interventions, like what happened today specifically. So today I answered 2 nurses for like on different occasions for if their med can be crushed and put down a G tube. I have them on this side of me here. I also saw that an ID doc ordered Keflex for osteoporosis, which usually guidelines would recommend doing like IV therapy before doing PO for osteo. And so I was like, I wonder why, because it's the ID doc. I'm like, I'm sure they had a good reason, but like, just want to make sure I understand what's going on. So I basically just called the ID doc, asked about it. He told me it's more of like a chronic picture, more of like a chronic osteo. And so he wanted to just do PO and discharge. And I was like, okay, cool. So that happened. I also I was verifying Pepcid for a patient. And then I noticed that the patient actually had 2 NSAIDs on the MAR. They had ibuprofen and ketorolac. And you can't have 2 PRN NSAIDs. You can only have 1. So actually this one was during rounds, because it was right before rounds that I noticed this, and they were a rounding patient. So I was like, I'll just ask during rounds. So I basically asked the doctor if I could DC the ibuprofen and just keep the ketorolac, and she said yes, and I did that. And then the second to last thing is a consult for vancomycin that I got. Kind of near the end-ish of the day. I noticed there was no BMP that was ordered for the patient, and so I ordered a stat BMP so I can get their renal function hopefully before the end of my shift. I just gave 1 15 milligram per kilo dose, scheduled it for Q8 hours, and then I just kept an eye on the BMP status for the rest of the day that I was there to see if it resulted and if I needed to change the interval, if I needed to increase that, if the renal function was poorer than anticipated. It unfortunately did not result before the end of my shift, so I had to leave a hand off to the evening pharmacist, but she was able to check that out for me, and the interval was able to stay the same because renal function was good, so yay! But then the final thing was just a consult that I got to check a home medication, their home norethindrone. So I basically just got in communication with the nurse. I printed the label and I checked the medication, make sure it was what it said it was, the strength was what it was, that the dosing is appropriate, that it's in expiration, like it's not expired. yeah, not on this med or not today, but actually on another day, I did notice that there was an incorrect dose on the growth hormone for one of the patients. And I was like, that cannot be correct. So I had to reach out to the nurse, and she had to ask the kid's mom who brought in the med, like, clarification on the dosing, because the doctor put in the order as something and the nurse put in the med rec as something, and that something was not making sense. So anyways, got that fixed, no patient harm was done, no extreme dose was given. So yay, that shows the impact of pharmacists. But that's it for like that portion of the day. Then I drive home at 4:30 and drop off my stuff in my apartment, change into my gym clothes, because I try to go to the gym every day if I can. More realistically, it's like every other day. I did the elliptical for 30 minutes. It was a great workout and a great mental break. And then I shower, and this part here is something out of the ordinary. I saw that Insomnia Cookies was giving away free cookies today. And I was like, let's do that. So I blow dried my hair so my hair wasn't like sopping wet when I went. I took a little drive, and when I arrived, the Satchel Boys were on the radio. So there they were. My soul was getting taken. Ooh. But I also saw that there was a pizza and pasta place next door, so I decided to order some pasta for dinner plus future lunches, which was a great idea. So go me, pat on the back. It lasted a lot of lunches. I did spend $14 to get a free cookie, but I saved $3. Girl math. But also it'd be a lot cheaper. That divided into a lot of lunches and stuff, so it was a lot cheaper than like buying from the cafeteria or whatever. So it worked out. I walked to Insomnia while that was cooking, and I got my free cookie. I got the chocolate chip because it was a free classic cookie. So out of the classics, I was feeling a chocolate chip, so I got a chocolate chip. And then I walked back over, picked up my food when it was ready, went back home, ate the food, delicious. It also came with 2 garlic knots, which was pretty awesome, so yay. And then after dinner, I continued working on my patient case presentation for Friday. It's on PJP, which is actually crazy. It's something that you don't really see anymore because we have prophylaxis for it. My preceptor actually said that she only saw it one other time in her whole career. So I was like, geez, wow, that's crazy. It's like a momentous thing for me to see. So I was like, let's do my patient case presentation on that. So I did. And then just before 10 p.m., I called it a day. I flossed my teeth, I brushed my teeth, and then I went to bed. So that is it for my day in the life of a PGY2 Pediatric Pharmacy resident on my first rotation of general pediatrics. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below. I will have plenty of these coming throughout the entire year for all the different rotations I end up doing. So if you like them, stay tuned because there will be more. That's all I have for you. See you back again next Sunday for another video. Bye.